Judy's Magic Cast-On can be used as a provisional cast-on, but it also works really well to start toe-up socks. For this cast-on, all you need is your yarn and the needles that you're going to be working with. For a sock, I like to use one long circular needle for magic loop, and I'm actually going to show you how to cast on 2 socks onto the same needle, toe up, using Judy's Magic Cast-On. So you're going to leave a little bit of a tail. You're going to want enough yarn in your tail to accommodate half of the stitches that you're going to cast on. Half of the stitches are going to be cast on to one needle and half are going to be cast on to the other needle. So with your circular needle, you're just going to fold it in half so you have both of the needles, and you're going to hold your needle in your right hand. In your left hand, you're going to take your yarn with your tail. You're going to put the tail end over your pointer finger and the ball end over your thumb. You're going to drape both ends across your palm, and you're going to use your other 3 fingers to just hold those 2 tails in place so they don't go anywhere. Now you're going to look at your fingers, your pointer finger and your thumb spread apart so you have a little bit of tension on your yarn. You're going to hold your needle so that one needle's in front and one needle is behind. The first stitch is going to go onto the front needle, and what you're actually going to do is you're going to take your yarn and you're going to twist your hand so that your forefinger and your thumb look like a U. And you're going to take the front needle, pass it right in between your 2 fingers, and then you're going to twist the needle so that your fingers make a C and your needle is pointed directly at them. Use the forefinger of your right hand to hold that twisted loop in place. Now you're going to position your hand to look a little bit more like a Y or like a little slingshot. And the next loop is going to go over the back needle. So the back needle is going to come down to the base of your thumb, drag right up your thumb, catch that loop on your thumb just on the back needle, let go of your thumb, put your thumb back into the yarn to tighten up that loop onto the back needle. You've now cast on 2 stitches, one onto the front needle and one onto the back needle. The next stitch is going to go onto the front needle, and for that you're going to cross all the way over your pointer finger, over the back loop of yarn, all the way down to the base of your pointer finger. The front needle is going to drag all the way up your finger to catch that loop of yarn just on the front needle. Take it off of your finger and put your finger back into the yarn to tighten up that second loop. And you're going to come back down to your thumb. The loop on your thumb is always going to go over the back needle. The back needle is going to come to the base of your thumb. Draw all the way up your thumb to catch that loop. Pull it off of your thumb. Put your thumb back into the yarn just to tighten up that loop. 2 stitches on the front needle, 2 stitches on the back needle. Next stitch is going to go onto your front needle. You're going to come all the way across over your pointer finger, behind all the yarn, to the base of your pointer finger. With that front needle, you're going to drag up your pointer finger, catch the loop just on the front needle, take your finger out of the loop so it's just on the needle, and put your finger back in underneath and tighten that loop up onto the needle. So we're going to do a total of 8 stitches on the front needle, 8 stitches on the back needle, for a total of 16 stitches for this first sock. Then I'll show you how to put on the second sock. We now have a total of 8 stitches on each needle. So we're just going to take this set of stitches, slide it down our needle a little bit, Make sure that we remember which needle was the front needle, which needle was the back needle. At this point, you've completed the cast on. What I do like to do at this point is actually take my tail yarn and my ball yarn, and I actually put a little knot right into them. This makes it so that when you're actually working into the stitches, the final loop on the needle doesn't get pulled really out of shape when you're working into it. Now, I don't even notice this knot when I finish, but you can always pull that out once you get a few rows in. So now we're going to put a second sock right onto this same needle. I'm going to line it up again. Remember which needle was our front needle, which needle was our back needle. We'll take our second ball of yarn. Remember to, again, leave a long tail. The tail portion is going to go over our forefinger. The ball portion goes over our thumb. We're going to put both ends into our palm and use our other 3 fingers just to gently hold them there. So we're going to put a little bit of tension on the yarn between our forefinger and our thumb. And to get our first stitch, it's going to go onto the front needle. We're going to hold our left hand in a U, take our front needle, catch the yarn just over the front needle, pointing straight up, twist our hand to a C, and point our needle directly at the palm of our hand. We have our first stitch on the front needle. We're going to turn our fingers and our yarn into more of a slingshot or a Y. The next stitch is going to go on the back needle. The back needle is going to come over to the base of the thumb. Draw up the thumb to catch the loop that's on the thumb just onto that back needle. Take our thumb out of the loop of yarn. Bring our thumb underneath to catch, oh, I missed. Go up our thumb again, put that loop onto the back needle. Take our thumb out of the loop, bring our thumb underneath the yarn, and we're going to tighten that up so we have 1 stitch on the front needle and 1 stitch on the back needle. Next stitch is going to go on the front needle. Front needle is going to come over our pointer finger behind all the strands of yarn. It's going to go to the base of our pointer finger, draw up to catch that loop from the pointer finger just onto the front needle. Take our finger out of the loop, drop our finger underneath the needles to put the yarn back on that finger and snug up our loop. Next stitch is going to go onto the back needle. And just use the pointer finger of your right hand to keep the stitches that are already on the needle from sliding around too much. So come down to the base of our thumb. Use the back needle to draw up the base of the thumb till you catch that loop. Drop your thumb out of the loop. Bring your thumb underneath the needles to help tighten up that loop. And continue until you have the same amount of stitches for the second sock as you did for the first sock. So in my case, I'm putting 8 stitches on the front needle and 8 stitches on the back needle for a total of 16 stitches. Now when you finish putting all your stitches onto the needle, you can just stop here. But I like to just make a little knot out of my tail yarn and my ball yarn, just because it makes it easier to knit into those stitches. So now you're going to notice this is the top of our needles. This was the side we were looking at when we were putting the stitches onto the needles. Underneath the needles, there's going to be a tiny little ridge. So this is starting to form the purl bumps that will go inside the toe of our socks. So when we're actually start to knit our socks, we want to find the flat side. We're actually going to take our 2 needles and spin them around. Now, this was our back needle when we were casting on. This was our front needle when we were casting on. We're going to pull that back needle out, and we're going to start using magic loop to knit. I usually pull my tail in between my 2 needles. And then you'll use your ball yarn to just start knitting across the first half of the toe for the first sock. Then you'll proceed onto the first half of the toe for the second sock. And then you'll flip your needles around to continue in the round with magic loop on the other side.